Welcome, gun runner.
Hello everybody, Q&A the Laird here, and I'm back with a new magazine retrospective for you, and something very new, a magazine that I haven't looked at all before. And this is based on some feedback as well, because lots of people recently have been asking me to look at some Sega magazines, and it struck me that I haven't actually looked at any specialist Sega magazines. I've looked at some Atari ones. I can't think. I think I've actually, I've done quite a few Nintendo ones as well, but I've not done any Sega ones at all, despite me being a huge Sega fan and having grown up with a Sega Mega Drive and Saturn. So being, a Sega owner, Sega fan, yes, it's a bit strange that I haven't. Very remiss of me. So I had a look around and I managed to snag a nice bundle, actually, of Sega magazines. Not a massive one, but still fairly good. And in it was some Mean Machine Sega, plus some Sega Force and some other stuff, which I'll be looking at on the channel in due course. But I thought I'd start with Sega Force. And one of the reasons why I'm actually going to start with this one is actually because I never, ever, ever bought this magazine back in the day. It's not a magazine I'm familiar with at all. So in terms of retrospective, it's not going to be any memories of the magazine as such here, because I don't remember it. I remember it vaguely, but I never bought it. My memory of this magazine, actually, funnily enough, is of it being a Master System magazine, which I think it was to start with. But certainly these later issues that I have here, I mean, I've got I'm gonna say later, I've got number 2 and number 7, actually. So not later. So I've actually got the second issue. Yeah, so it is Master System, Mega Drive and Game Gear. But I remembered it being a Master System magazine. Maybe I'm getting mixed up with something else. Was there an SMS Power or something? Well, I'm thinking of the SMS Power Forum. I don't know. But anyway, perhaps I'm getting confused with another magazine. But yeah, I mean, you might recognise straight away looking at the covers. It's has that Ollie Frey kind of look to the artwork. Very sort of Crash like design, actually, from that time, which is interesting to see. So they were going for that kind of look, very, very colourful, nice hand-drawn artwork on the covers rather than using the covers from games boxes or whatever. Very classical style, but lots of screenshots of the games that are in the magazines as well. So let's have a look at what these are all about then. So grab issue 2 first, because that's the oldest one of the two. It looks like I'm going to have to move the camera out, actually, because it's not going to fit in frame otherwise, is it? Is that going to fit it in frame? There we go. That should fit it. Yeah, there we go. Right. So it starts off with a little advert for some US Gold Master System games. When US Gold started to move from doing computer games into doing console games, as you can see here. And actually, funny enough, although US Gold had a pretty middling reputation on home computers, where they did some absolute stinkers, their Master System games were actually really good for the most part. World Class Leaderboard was excellent. Out in Europe, it was pretty good. Indy was okay. Impossible Mission was very good. Gauntlet was excellent, really excellent port. And Paperboy was as well. So that's actually, they were pretty good with their Master System content. So here's our review team. And I said about it looked like an Ollie Frey cover. And it is, there's Ollie Frey and and Roger Keane. So it'd be familiar to anyone from Crash, because it's some of the same people. And anyone who buys the Crash rebooted magazines in Zap 64, obviously, which they also did. Funnily enough, we've got Jonathan Rignall in here, whose older brother was Jazz Rignall. So that's interesting as well. A few other names you might mention in here as well. But yes, I thought it looked like an Ollie Frey cover, and I was correct. So there we go. The Europress, I think Europress took over Newsfield, didn't they? If I remember correctly. So here's some previews at the beginning. New Zealand story. El Viento, talking about Japanese games. That's good on the Mega Drive, El Viento. Shining Force. There's an advert for Console Concepts, a division of PC Engine Supplies. So a little Prince of Persia preview, talking about a little bit about Claim. Double Dragon 2 preview for Mega Drive. It's okay, that it's not particularly impressive. Go. And then this is interesting, because I've done an article on Razorsoft, who there was a bit of a furore about Razorsoft at the time, because basically they made a load of Mega Drive games that had either nudity or violence in, or both. And they weren't particularly horrific at all, but some people made a big deal of it. There's Tongue of the Fat Man there. Stormlord ported the home computer game. Technocop ported the home computer game. But on Technocop, like when you shot the people, they burst into, like, blood went everywhere. And also Stormlord had some on the statues of, like, the fairies. You could see their boobs. It really wasn't really that much at all, but people got upset about it anyway. It was a bit silly, really. Talks about their games. Most of their games weren't particularly good, to be honest. There's good old Solid Gold Exchange Club with their crappy Bart Simpson lookalike. I've talked about him before, I think in my Game Zone videos, actually. Death Duel. So then they go into another Razorsoft game. It seems they've got a bit of a Razorsoft theme going on in this issue. Death Duel isn't a particularly good game either. That's just a preview, yeah, it is. So some more stuff they're talking about coming from America. Adam's Family, Road Blasters there, RBI Baseball. And there's Pop Hills for the Game Gear. So actually that's just all about 10 Gen stuff then, isn't it? Yeah. Looks like all mostly games at 10 Gen we're doing at that time. Of course, the division of Atari games. There's Berlin Wall for the Game Gear. Good old Special Reserve, who was just down the road from where I grew up. Super Space Invaders for the Master System, which they gave 87%. I concur, it's an excellent port of the game. I'd actually probably go a little bit higher than that. It's the best home port of Super Space Invaders, is the Master System version, probably. Actually, no, the ST and Amiga versions are very good. But it's a very good port, regardless. It's almost on par with the ST and Amiga ports, to be honest. Pit Fighter for the Mega Drive, which they gave 90%. And I love this, because you constantly get these people who say that, like, Pit Fighter is one of the worst games ever and slag it off. And I always point out that nobody thought like that when it came out. Everybody thought Pit Fighter was brilliant, and it got fantastic reviews across the board, including 95% in Sega Pro, I may add. And actually, when I did my greatest Mega Drive games of all time, Pit Fighter made the top 20. So enough people voted for it that it made the top 20. That should tell you that his whole view of the sheep who go, no, it's a rubbish game, it's awful, it's not Street Fighter 2, it's just nonsense. It's not Street Fighter 2, it's a completely different type of game, Street Fighter 2. Okay, it's a one-on-one fighter, but it plays completely differently to Street Fighter 2. It can play more differently. Apart from being a similar genre, it's a totally different type of game. Yeah, this goes along with my constant assertions that Pit Fighter was a very well-received game. It's an excellent game. It's one of my favourite games of all time. So, yeah, another great review for it, 90%. So stick that in your pipe and smoke it. All the people who claim that it was badly received, it bloody well wasn't. Running Battle Master System. I can't think I've ever played that, actually. 69%. Looks like a bit of a cross between a beat 'em up and a run and gun. Actually looks quite good, but don't know. Klax. Which version of Klax is that? That's the Master System version 81. It is a good port. The sound isn't very good on it, though, which is a bit disappointing. Bonanza Brothers. That's the Master System and Mega Drive. Very good game, actually. Underrated, I feel, Bonanza Brothers. It's a kind of strategy platformer. It's kind of an early stealth game, actually, if you think about it. One of the earliest stealth games. So the Mega Drive, actually, is that 64% for the Mega Drive version. And 80 for the Master System. That's strange that they rated them so differently. It's G-LOC, that's Master System. 67, yeah, bang on, actually. I'm agreeing with a lot of these reviews in here. It's adapted for the coin op. They didn't make it the same, but yeah, it kind of hides some of its that it never could have done a port of the arcade game, but it shows sort of what a kind of generic and quite dull game G-LOC is without all the fancy effects. A nice poster there. Then we've got tips and cheats in here as well. So there's Quackshot for the Mega Drive, Back to the Future 2, which is an actually horrible game for the Master System there. John Madden Football 92, Robo-Cod, Cap Attack, Sonic, Impossible Mission, Spider-Man, Laser Power. So this is an early look at the Mega CD, isn't it? Yeah, love the Mega CD. Underrated add-on. Gets too much hate, I think. So some of the early games in Japan, like Ernest Evans and Soul Feast. Stuff here is Soul Feast, indeed. And Heavy Nova, which is crap, but Soul Feast was quite good. Add-ons. So like the Master Gear adapter there for the Game Gear. And a Competition Pro Turbo Joypad for the Mega Drive. Win a WrestleFest arcade machine. Yeah, wouldn't you have loved to have won that back in the day? Oh my God. Call this phone line, which costs about £200 a minute. But yeah, one of the best arcade games ever. So good. Golden X2, 84. Probably about right. Rampart, Master System, 80. I'd go a bit higher than that. I think it's a really good port, actually. Alien Storm, that's the Master System version, 80. Probably about right. It's a pretty good port. Dual Master, Mega Drive. Yeah, that's a good game. They gave it 74. I'll maybe go a little bit higher, but yeah, fair. Joe Montana 2 Sports Talk Football. That was a great game. I'm trying to think if my brother owned Sports Talk 2 or 3. I think it was 3 he might have owned, which I ended up absolutely loving, despite not being a fan of American football at all. The game was really good. 76%, like a bit higher than that. There's the sports talk element of it makes a really big difference, I think. It's really cool. Lucky Dime Caper starring Donald Duck, 92. That's the Game Gear version, I'm guessing there. Not my kind of game, but Solitaire Poker for the Game Gear. I actually really like that. I think it's a really cool game. And they gave it 91. They liked it as well. Advert for Quickshot controllers, which is cool. And Tech Magic's games, which were all excellent. Actually, Shadow Beast, Populous Pac-Mania, all excellent. It shows you the awards they won. It's nice it's still got this thing on the cover. You don't have to usually find those kind of things are missing on these mags. Been pulled off. But there we go. Prince of Persia cover this time round. Lots of good stuff in here by the things. You've got some Terminator in here. Some Taz-Mania, for example. Special reserve advert to start with this time. There's our team behind the mag, as always. Sonic 2 unveiled, exclusive. I don't think it was an exclusive. Bit about some TV shows, Taz-Mania, a desk for your Mega Drive, Sonic 2, Mega Drive Secrets books. And then we're going to our preview for Prince of Persia, which is the Mega Drive version. That's a review, actually, not a preview. They started with reviews, not previews in this one, which is strange. 94%, probably fair. It's a very good port. The old Apple II game. USA Here and Now, so obviously talking about the latest games that come out in America there. So Bimini Run, which is weird, actually, because I was literally just talking to someone on Facebook who, in a group, who was talking about getting their Sega Genesis American for Christmas in 1991, and Bimini Run being their first game. And I was saying how it's really underrated game. I really like the music on it. So it's really funny to now open this magazine and see Bimini Run. Very funny. Lawnmower Man. Loved that film. So good. Fists of Steel. Kaji Key, that's called, isn't it? Is the other name for it. That's quite a good fun game, actually. Advanced Play, so that's just a preview. But I quite enjoyed that. Virgin Megastore chart. So what's #1 for the Mega Drive? Desert Strike. World Cup 1090. Oh god, that's such a horrible game. EA Hockey, Streets of Rage, Road Rash. Pit Fighter. Yeah, you know, that horrible game that no one liked. Pit Fighter. Test Drive 2. PJ Tour Golf. Winter Challenge. Super Bowl Basketball. My friend had Super Bowl Basketball. It was quite cool. Mars Systems. Asterix. Sonic. Enduro Racer. Mickey Mouse. Super Kickoff. Teddy Boy. Ghost House. Donald Duck. World Class Leaderboard. World Soccer. Solid. Game Gear, Sonic, Mickey Mouse, Super Monaco GP, Donald Duck, Shinobi, Joe Montana, Axe Battler, Fantasy Zone, Outrun, Ninja Gaiden. Yeah, so good solid chart, that one. Game Gear Indiana Jones reviewed, 88. I don't think it's worth 88. I'd go much lower. I think it's quite a generic, bit annoying game, to be honest. Olympic Gold, it's an alright button basher. As sports games go, it's decent enough. They gave it 94% for the Master System. The Master System version probably is more impressive. And 82 for the Mega Drive. Taz-Mania, this is the Mega Drive. I never liked that game. They gave it 96. That's ridiculous. That is far too high. Never in a million years is that a 96% game. Oh my God. Win some stuff. I've been quite good with these review scores so far. That I've seen across the two that I've looked at, but I can't agree with that at all. Here's our tips and cheats. Space Hero, Two Crude Dudes, Pac-Mania, Robocod, Granada. I love Granada, or Granada X as some call it, because the box looks like it's got an X on the end, but it actually is just Granada. But yeah, I love Granada. Such an underrated Mega Drive game, really is. Desert Strike, great game. Love Desert Strike. Although I did rent the Mega Drive version back in the day, I think. Oh no, I didn't rent it. My next door neighbour had it. That's a lie. I borrowed it off him. My next door neighbour had Desert Strike, and I quite liked it on the Mega Drive. But I played it most on the Lynx because I bought the Lynx version and played the living daylights out of it on the Lynx. Really good. Batman. That's the Mega Drive one by Sunsoft, isn't it? That's an excellent game. They gave it 86. Magical Towel Route. I don't know what that is. It's a Japanese game, but yeah. World Class Leaderboard, Mega Drive. That's really good. Todd's Adventure in Slime World. It's alright, but it's not a patch on the Lynx version, in all honesty. Out on Europa, it's the Game Gear version. Devilish, Mega Drive. Love Devilish on the Mega Drive. One of my all-time favourite Mega Drive games. I love it so much. Another game that's really underrated, along with Granada. I just mentioned Sagaya. That's the Master System one. They go 51. That's crap. That is a really impressive version of the game. It's Darius 2. And I think the Master System version is excellent. 51 in well off. I'd be giving it in the 90s probably. I think it's one of the best shooting ups to the Master System. Advanced Play Wheel of Fortune for the Mega Drive. Why? Galaxy Force for Mega Drive 56. The Babbling Voice of Pain in the Arse. It's not a great conversion, but it's not bad. I actually think Galaxy Force, I prefer the ST version, personally. I think it plays a bit better. Although it's not a full screen, I think it plays better, but it's not bad. I'd still play it because I love the arcade game. The Terminator, that's the Mega Drive version, 84. It's an excellent game. DJ Boy for the Mega Drive. I quite liked that. I rented it back in the day because we used to have this video shop in my hometown, and he used to buy loads of import games. He was a Mega Drive gamer himself, so I used to chat to him all the time. So he used to buy a lot of import games, then put them up for rent in the shop. And I remember renting DJ Boy and being really disappointed that it wasn't two-player. Find it was a one-player only beat-em-up, although it was good. They get 47. I'll go higher than that. Crystal Warriors, Game Gear 63. Euro Club Soccer, which is a conversion of Manchester United Europe. I actually rented the Mega Drive version, I remember, and I really liked it. They gave it 81. And I liked it so much, it actually came up on the Lynx not long after, where it was called European Soccer Challenge for some reason. They changed the name again. And I loved the Lynx version. I played it so much. Really loved it on the Lynx. Corporation. Sega Force Smash. Sort of an early FPS on the Mega Drive. Very good, actually, Corporation. Marble Madness, Master System, 76. That's a good version. Cooney's Game Paradise. Not aware of that at all. Some more competitions to win some stuff. Zero Wing, all your base are belong to us. Brilliant. 86. In fact, there we go. Cats. You're on the way to destruction. They didn't even get the best bit for the intro there. Rubbish. Advertising for GB Action Magazine. I remember that because I remember my brother buying it a few times because he had a Game Boy. I'll try and get some copies of that actually. That'd be nostalgic because my brother bought that quite a few times. Sports Talk Baseball even for the Mega Drive. Never played that actually. But I don't like baseball games. Chuck Rock for the Mega Drive, 93. Probably a bit high, although I do quite like Chuck Rock as platformers go. Tracia, Mega Drive, never played it. It's a good RPG, don't like RPGs. Letters. Loads of letters with some drawings of Sonic. Some high scores there of people that are sent in. They probably lied. There's some from Hempstead. And then more mail order and stuff, and some more mail order stuff on the back there. And that's it. That's Sega Force magazine. It definitely seems to have been aimed a bit more at a younger audience, I think, by how sort of bright and colourful it is. But certainly reminds me a lot of Crash, which is no coincidence, and Zap 64. But quite a nice magazine, actually. I ended up agreeing with a lot of their review scores, which surprised me. My go-to magazine back in the day for Sega was Sega Pro. I loved Sega Pro because it was just Mega Drive, and that was the magazine I used to buy when I had my Mega Drive. It was mainly Sega Pro. I sometimes bought Megatech, actually. I quite liked Megatech as well. That was another good one. And I always bought Game Zone because I had a links as well. But yeah, Megatech, which I must get some Megatechs, and Sega Pro, especially with my go-tos, because I usually always agreed with the scores in Sega Pro. I found how closely aligned with them. Sega Pro, of course, was by the team who previously did Your Sinclair. So the Your Sinclair team moved on to Sega Pro, and the Crash team moved on to doing Sega Force. So yeah, interestingly, actually, that those teams sort of moved over onto Sega Mags like that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed my look at Sega Force. If you bought this magazine back in the day, I'd love to hear your memories of it. But as always, I thank you for watching, and I'll see you all again for another one very soon. Bye bye.